Promote a culture of inclusion, supercharge your communication, and unleash the full potential of your teams and leaders with the Inclusive Handbook collection from the Diversity Movement. As part of the collection, I wrote the Inclusive Leadership Handbook with Kurt Merriweather to empower leaders with tools needed to cultivate a culture that fosters creativity, innovation, and employee engagement. Through strategies, exercises, and self-reflection, leaders at all levels can enhance their effectiveness. Learn more at thediversitymovement.com/store. Use code HOL at checkout for 25% of your first order. Welcome to High Octane Leadership with Donald Thompson. This season, we're diving deeper with more solo episodes, where I'll share the experiences that have led to recognition by EY, Forbes, Fast Company, and others. Not as a boast, but as milestones on my entrepreneurial path. From growing multi-million-dollar firms to successful business exits and building high-performance teams with a global perspective. I'll reveal the insights and strategies from my journey and share them with you so that we can win together. Alongside these solo episodes, we'll have industry visionaries and thought leaders, and we'll explore effective leadership. Ready to empower your leadership journey with real success stories? Let's embark on this transformational journey together. Welcome to another combined episode of High Octane Leadership and Diversity Beyond the Checkbox. I'm here with Jackie Ferguson, and I am Donald Thompson. And for those of you that don't know, this is my beautiful wife, and I'm so glad to be here with you.
I'm glad to be here with you.
And also to do this podcast.
Oh, are we doing a podcast?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things we want to talk about today is a pretty important topic for our audience, for anyone that's trying to move ahead in business and grow your personal brand. And we're going to talk about the value of a personal brand, and then also some things you can be thinking about and considering when building your personal brand. And the final thing is we're actually going to talk to you about something new that we're launching in that space that's going to be pretty cool. And so I'll jump things off, and then you can drive ahead. One of the things that I started to invest in, and this is really 5-7 years ago when I got serious about it, is what did I want to be known for? Mm-hmm. And I was listening, and this was when Joe Rogan with Spotify, and he signed this big deal. This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. So podcasting was starting to take off. I started to look at Gary V's of the world in marketing and different things. And I'm seeing all these things on my YouTube feed. And I'm like, well, there's got to be a way that this can apply to me in my local market to where I'm known before I enter the room. And that's one of the keys to personal branding. And so I started to invest in that space. I started on writing an ebook, which you helped me with, that I started my own podcast 5 years ago. I started writing a book with some ghostwriters and different things of that nature. But here's the thing that I want to share, and then I want to get your comments. Your personal brand allows you to be present when you're not physically there, and is a critical strategic advantage in business, in investing, in networking, and in growing whatever firms you're attached to. And so, Jackie, I would like your feedback, and really anything on this topic, but to start, your feedback on why people don't do it and why they should.
Yeah. Well, let's start with why they should. I think there are two things to consider. One is the value to your business. So when we started the diversity movement, for example, it was your brand that led the credibility of that until it built its own credibility. And so if you're leading a business, your brand can augment that corporate brand. It can amplify that corporate brand. It can create a voice and trust and credibility because you have a personal brand that people recognize and believe in. The second thing, and which leads to more business, which is great, right? That's the goal. The second thing is we're in a wonky environment right now, and a lot of leaders are losing their jobs. And so you want to be able to position yourselves in a down market, or even when the market is good, to say, okay, I'm looking for a job, and your reputation then precedes you. And when, that HR person in that new company, or that leader of that new company, or that board of a new company has 5 resumes in front, what's the thing that makes you stand out? And the most important thing is your personal brand. If you've got followers, credibility, thought leadership, you're going to be able to create a lead in that race that other candidates don't have, even matching resume to resume.
You make several good points. The one I want to expand on, people want to buy from, work for, partner with people that are experts in their field.
That's right.
And in order for you to be known as an expert in your field, you've got to deliver some level of content that allows you to be known, to have a higher level of awareness than the people that you're competing with. And so one of the things that I share with folks that I'm working with on their brands, and something I've learned, is you can start small and build momentum over time. So you can start with having a really well done LinkedIn profile. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You just can really be thoughtful in your summary. You can be really thoughtful about what kind of content you put in your featured section. How do you list the different jobs and things that you've had? How much do you comment on the postings of other companies and leaders that you're following? These are all simple things that you can do to start to raise awareness of who you are, why you matter, and what you deliver that is valuable, right, to the clients you're trying to attain. And having that reputational influence, that personality driven sales process allows you to get to what your product does faster, because people trust you more, because they've heard through repetition about you, your company, and the results you've been able to deliver. And it's not a short fix. It's something that you have to work on over time. But I've got to tell you, it's absolutely worth it. And it's not as hard as people think.
Yeah. Now, back to the problems, the why don't we do that, right? Because it's clear the benefit. The benefit is clear to the individual. The benefit is clear to the company that individual is working for. But a lot of times leaders don't make the time to do it. There's a lot to think about. Oh, how many times do I need to post a week? What do I need to write about? I don't have time to do a blog. I don't have time to shop an article. I don't have time to do a podcast and everything that's needed to produce that end to end. And so, how do you make time for that? How do you, and then it's expensive a lot of times to hire someone to do that for you.
Here's the thing I'll say about time and expense, right? And this is super important. I'm glad that you brought it up. You can't afford not to do it.
Mm.
You may not have $5,000 a month, but you may have $500 a month to have somebody help you with your social media. You might have $1,000, $1,500 a month for somebody to shoot some video clips for you. I'm not sure that people fully understand the ramifications of being invisible when you're competing with people who are visible, right? I don't want to get political, because that'd be a whole 2 hours and we don't have that much time in the studio.
Or enough alcohol.
But the president of the United States is president, and that's Trump, whether I care for him or not, because he had the strongest brand of any of his competitors. Wasn't because he was the smartest, wasn't because he had the best policy ideas. It wasn't any of that. He had the best brand recognition against his competition. And so when you're thinking about winning in the marketplace and you think it is based on how good your product is versus the other,
how smart you are.
Or how smart you are. Mm-hmm. That only matters if you are in the final 3 being selected, right? But if you're not in the final 3 because nobody knows about your skills, talent, and expertise, then you're losing business that you never even got a chance to compete for. You're losing job opportunities you never got a chance to even compete for. And so that's one thing. The other thing in terms of the expense and the investment is, if it gets you more business faster, there is a very clear return on investment on the personal brand of the business leader. Mm-hmm. And that's why, now watch this, the Accentures of the world, the Deloittes of the world, McKinsey of the world, some of the largest consulting organizations spend millions of dollars a year in thought leadership.
Mm.
They don't do it because they're a charity. They do it because they understand that people buy from experts that are highly credible and have strong name recognition. And you do that by sharing your expertise with others. And you can share that expertise in a podcast, in a video, in a newsletter, on LinkedIn. It doesn't really matter where you get started, but once you start to develop that momentum of content generation, now all of a sudden you can start to see the results because people start to get engaged with your brand. The more people that are engaged with the brand, the more you can trust. And that's something that I would share in terms of the time. Sure, it's scarce, right? Don't try to do everything on your own. And then the money, I think the return on investment for most people is clear in the first year of what you would invest and the value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new clients. It's a clear return on investment for most leaders that I talk to and emerging leaders that want to grow big.
Mm-hmm. So Don, my follow-up question is, one, how do I as a leader then determine what content is going to resonate and what I should be talking about? So how do I, as an individual, determine what I should be creating thought leadership on? And the second thing, which is different, right, is especially as a culturally diverse woman leader, the humble brag is not necessarily part of my nature, right? It's there because there's a lot of, oh, she thinks she's something, right? Who does she think she is? And so it's not in our nature to say, I'm the expert. Look at me.
Yep.
Pay attention to what I'm saying. So how do we, one, overcome that hesitation? And then two, okay, I've overcome that hesitation. Now what do I talk about?
So what do I talk about and how do I get over that inertia, right, to brag on myself?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, what do we talk about for a minute? I'm going to go into my phone. I'm going to go into ChatGPT. I am an entrepreneur and I want to increase my LinkedIn presence on entrepreneurship and leadership. What are the top 5 topics that I could talk about or write about in a post? So I talk to chat. That's a great move. Entrepreneurship and leadership are perfect for building a strong presence on LinkedIn. Here are the top 5 performing topics that both authentically delivered and high engagement for entrepreneurs. Learning lessons from failures. We've all done things that we learned from, that we messed up. That shows humility. Behind the scenes of building a business. What's happening behind the scenes that people wouldn't know or understand? Mm-hmm. What unique things, fun, sometimes not fun, right, that are happening but are interesting behind the scenes as you're building your business? What's your personal leadership philosophy? What are tactics and tools that you use? I'm just talking about AI right now, but I'm sharing with you a tool that I'm using to be more effective, more efficient, faster. And what are your trends that you're seeing on entrepreneurship? That took all of 2 minutes.
Yeah, like 10 seconds.
Right?
Now, and just to add to that, I love that. Just to add to that, the more detailed you are about who you are as a leader and as an individual, the more customized that's going to be for you specifically. And the more you'll be able to find these niche areas that you can lean into and lead.
Absolutely. Now I want to unpack the second question you asked, which is equally as powerful. And I face that, many people face that, right? I don't want to brag on myself.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then don't. Talk about what you're learning. Talk about what you've overcome. Talk about what you've read. Talk about people that you believe in and are proud of. Give shout outs. Right? Those are 4 things I just described to you that you can start talking about publicly that have nothing to do with you as an individual and bragging. It has everything to do with you want to be helpful. So when I create content and I work with my team, I'm very fortunate. I did it on my own, realized pretty quick, didn't look great. I needed to invest in a team to help me, right? Some of you all can be do-it-yourselfers. There's a way to do that, fine. I needed some people to help me because I was too busy and I wasn't amazing at it at the beginning. But the thought process of what I want to talk about and trends that I'm seeing, I am pretty good at. So you have to find the thing that's your niche, that you're confident in, and then there are people that can help you develop the way you present it to the world. But there's a lot of things that you can talk about before talking about self. And that's super important to know and understand because people love authentic communication.
Mm-hmm.
And you can deliver that by cheering for your teammates, cheering for your peers, talking about the latest thing that you've read. And here's the thing that I want to share the most, things that you've overcome.
Yeah.
Because people want to know the failure to success story arc, right? What did you struggle with? How did you overcome it? And what did the win look like? And so those are a couple things to answer that question, but super powerful question.
That makes sense. And ultimately, people buy from people they like and brands they trust. And you can create both of those things by making sure that your personal brand and growing your personal brand is important.
We're such believers in this. I'm the board chair of Walk West, a digital marketing agency, and we're in the midst of really transforming the business, focusing more on AI-driven technologies, focusing more on how do we give the best value at the lowest cost to our clients, all of those things. And we just acquired a company called Earfluence that was in the podcasting space. And the reason we did that is when you're thinking about a podcast like we are today, the team is going to be able to take what we put together in this 30, 40 minutes and come up with a bunch of different content.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking about, now back to your question of time as an executive,
Mm-hmm.
if you worked with our team and you create, let's say, an hour podcast,
Mm-hmm.
our team is going to produce 5, 10, 15 pieces of content that you then can look at and approve. And then you can go to market that week with the best 5 to 10 pieces that you like, that are in your voice, that are on topics that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
We then take the marketing know-how to look at how to build an audience that we curate for you and your brand so that now your message is not only unique, your message is not only captured, but is now delivered in a targeted way to the audience that you want to influence, grow, and ultimately do commercial business with. We're making the art of marketing and sales into a science by using content and then remixing that content. And one of the things that I'll ask you, Jackie, and I'll tell this to the audience, I'm very fortunate and I get to see behind the scenes, obviously. But I remember you launching and becoming the host of Diversity Beyond the Checkbox.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about fear of being on podcasts, fear of being out in front. And how did you work through and overcome that to where now you're one of the top 5 podcasts, top 5% podcasts globally
Mm-hmm.
and growing? But it didn't start that way.
Right. Yeah. I spent my whole career being in the background, which I didn't begrudge. Like, I got people prepared to be in the spotlight, and I was not the one in the spotlight myself. There's a lot of pressure of getting it right and being perfect, which is unreasonable and unnecessary. But you don't realize that when your job is to, dot your I's and cross your T's in the background. And so I was pretty terrified the first couple of podcasts, and I spent hours preparing and making sure that I knew my questions, and would never have gotten on a podcast with no notes, right? Which I can do now. How did I do it? I just kept saying yes. Because I knew that if I wanted to grow my brand and be a spokesperson for our business and what we did, I would need to be able to be in front. And it was big and scary, and I had a couple of sleepless nights, or maybe more than a couple. But I kept doing it, and it kept getting a little bit easier and a little bit faster. And, now I really enjoy talking on other people's podcasts and doing my own podcasts very much.
You were honored recently by Inc. It was the top 200 women founders. Tell me.
Female founders. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And all right, so that was the Inc. award. And then you got an award with Raleigh Magazine. What was that?
Fearless in 40s.
Mm-hmm. All right. And you've written a book.
A best-selling book.
Yep. What is the rank of your podcast in business podcasts? Wasn't there an organization that ranked you pretty high in your podcast?
Yeah. So a couple of organizations actually have ranked me in the top 20 of business or leadership podcasts, which is very exciting. I'm very often in top 10 of diversity podcasts in the world, which is awesome. I'm able to talk to great business leaders in different industries, different roles that create just a human perspective in business. And
So here's the thing. One, she's got so many awards and accolades, she can't remember them. I want to take you from her being scared, not wanting to do it, and just saying yes, to now you're seeing a more finished product where success is now a byproduct of just saying yes and continuing. So my reason for asking her those questions is to remind you all that you're not going to start as an award-winning author. You're not going to start with the top highly rated podcast, but you can get there if you're willing to start and say yes, if you're willing to continue to do it, if you're willing to continue to work on it. And I'm very, very proud of you.
thank you.
Like, there's just a lot of success that you've developed for your personal brand. And now you're a board member for nonprofit boards. You're looking at some innovation things for starting some new things that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about that brand being a part of sharing with the world what your capabilities and competencies are. And a lot of times, yes, we can be a little too humble,
Mm-hmm.
when really it's not a humble brag if you're just talking about what you've done. And that's the thing you have to remember.
Yeah.
It's a brag when you're predicting your future and you're over amplifying what
That's
you've
fair.
done. It's not a brag when you're just sharing with people what you've done, how you can help them with the knowledge you've learned, and that you really are in it to help them win as well. And go from there. Anything to add before we get to kind of our bonus comments on this, and something I want to get your take on?
The only thing that I would say is, reversing the spotlight a little bit, pun intended. We were able to build an entire business off the strength of your brand and your awards, your Inc. awards, your Forbes awards, your EY award. And so, creating a brand that matters, creating a brand that is in the room before you are, is super important.
Yeah. And why do all the work that you're doing as an entrepreneur, a leader in your corporation, and not smell your flowers? I mean, let's talk about this for a minute. This is not we're better than you, I'm better than you. This is to encourage you to go get your flowers for the things that you're doing, the things that your family should be proud of, the work that you've put in, right? And in this crazy environment where it's really noisy and hard to get noticed, you've got to figure out a way to pierce through. And so one of the things that Jackie and I have been talking about for a while, and she just has a really great way of taking my ideas and making them make sense to other humans, is we created an exec brand authority index.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd love for you to talk to them about what this brand authority index is for personal brands of emerging leaders.
Well, I'll talk a little about the index, but you're the sales guy. I just create stuff behind the scenes, really. So I'd rather you talk about all of the excitement of it, but I'll talk about the index. So
wait. I thought we were going rock, paper, scissors for who talked about the whole thing or not.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Rock. You got to do
okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, you lose. Go.
All right, listen. Okay, that's pretty funny. We didn't plan that. All right, but look, we figured that we've spent thousands of dollars, and I mean a lot of money, learning about this, working with experts, publicists, ghostwriters, videographers, podcast engineers, all the kind of things. So we have a blueprint from our failures and from our successes, and we've built a really powerful team. What we've done is created a foundational exec brand index that will go out and look at comparable leaders to the role industry that you're in and show you how you rank. It'll look at how you have your content set up, what your current personal brand score is, and then how to move that score even higher. Think about it as Credit Karma for your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that you can get the measurement, but also the tips, also the ways, also the recipe and the blueprint of how to improve it, and we're going to help you. And it's whether you take the blueprint and you and your team go do it, or you do it yourself, or you take the blueprint and you use our team at Walk West to help you deliver and do it. Either way is fine with us. We just want more and more people focused on building that personal brand. And so before I turn it back over to you, the announced date for this new offering is not here yet, but we are looking for folks that want to beta test it with us.
Yeah.
So just reach out to Jackie or I on LinkedIn and say, listen, I heard your podcast and would love to beta test the Executive Brand Authority Index.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get right back to you and include you in that beta. But please do give a little bit more detail on the structure and how you really came up with the fundamental way we want to think about brand scoring.
Yeah, we base it on, the methodology is based on 10 parameters that rank you based on things like your social media and followers, how many thought leadership pieces and content you've got out, references in other publications or other online sources. Are you doing speaking engagements? So lots of 10 specifically different scoring metrics that we use, which is really great because sometimes what happens is there's this big unknown and we don't know how to get started. We don't know how we're doing. We don't know if we're doing too much of this or not enough of this. And so by having the Exec Brand Authority Index, we're able to show you where you are now, build a plan with you, and show you how to get there, and really grow your brand locally, regionally, and nationally.
The fun thing is you can chart your course, and we want to make it simple enough that we can help with some of the fears that we talked about and help reduce them, because we want to help people do it in a stronger way to help their goals and their careers. But two, you're going to see a pretty powerful return on investment simply because your competitors probably aren't doing it, right? The biggest companies out there, for sure, they have PR agencies for each one of their executives.
Yeah.
They have booking agents. Like, that's not who we're talking to. We're talking to those of us that are bootstrapping our businesses, those of us that are running on limited funds, and we want to do things efficiently, cost effectively, so that we can all win from this type of content generation as well. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I already have a PR firm, you're not our client. It's okay. We will keep doing what you're doing, and we're proud of you and we cheer for you. But we're looking for the firm and the person and the individual that's like, man, I love that, but I really don't have the time. But if I could work with a team that's trusted, that's competent, that understands my business, that could help me amplify my brand, I'd love to hear more. That's who we're really, really talking to, because we think it's such a phenomenal opportunity to be able to not brag, but tell people your competency, your credibility, and how you're going to commercially help them grow and succeed. We think you can do that by building and growing your personal brand. Jackie, as always, I'm going to give you the last word before we kind of sign off. And sometimes in these, I get a little talkative and all the things, and you are so gracious with me on that. How would you like to kind of wind us down on any of the topics relative to the personal brand and the value?
I think with personal branding, whether you have a PR agency or not, there are a lot of things that are unknown. We try to take the unknown out of your personal brand and how you build that, and create a real methodology for success and a blueprint for success. And I think that's the difference with us and anybody else that you talk to. We want to partner with you at whatever level makes sense for you. And we want to help see you succeed the way that we've been able to grow our own brands, and will continue to.
I've had a blast. I've had a blast rocking with you.
Thanks, Don.
And doing this. It's been super fun. And until next time, we're very appreciative of your time, attention, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you for joining us on High Octane Leadership with Donald Thompson. Today's episode is a step in our collective journey towards leadership excellence. Remember, every story we share and every insight we gain is a piece in the puzzle of our leadership journey. For more insight and detail, hit the subscribe button so that we can stay connected. For deeper information and more episodes, go to donaldthompson.com. Continue to lead with vision and purpose, and until we meet again, embrace your role as a high-octane leader in the ever-evolving world of business.